Hello everyone, hi, welcome to the channel of Wall Street Mojo. Watch the video till the end, and also if you are new to this channel, then you can subscribe us by clicking the bell icon. Friends, today we are going to learn concept which is known as the conservatism principle of accounting. As you can see in the blue box, there's something written over here. Let's read that. Conservatism principle is a concept in accounting under the GAAP, which recognizes and records the expenses and liabilities, certain or uncertain in nature, and as soon as possible, but recognizes revenue and assets when they are assured of being received. So there is, like, a partiality that is happening between the liabilities and the revenues. Well, it's quite simple over here. The expenses and liabilities are recorded whether it is certain or uncertain, with the biggest example like the bad debts or reserves for the doubtful debts. And the revenues and the assets are recognized when they are actually been assured, because of the standards. They say that the revenue should be recognized only when it is certain and the recovery of the amount is certain. So all those critical things has to be in marked so as to recognize revenue and assets. Let's understand this in complete detail. Conservative principle is basically a concept that is accounting under GAAP, right? And that recognizes and records expenses and liabilities, certain or uncertain nature, as soon as possible, but recognizes revenue assets when they are assured of being received. So it gives a clear guidance on recording cases of uncertainty and estimates. Now, the principle of the conservatism is one of the major accounting principles and guidelines under it under UK GAAP, which is regulatory body of principle and standards of accounting that all the accountants across the globe need to follow while reporting the financial activity of the business. Now, the principle of the conservatism is mostly concerned with the reliability of the financial statement of business entity. Now, the conservatism principle example that we are going to take so that we understand. Let's make an assumption that a company which is known as the KG Inc. is embroiled in a patent lawsuit. KG Inc. is suing AB Inc. for patent infringement and is expecting in a large settlement. Now, since the settlement is not in surety, KG Inc. does not record the gain in the financial statement. Now, the question, why does it not record in the financial statement? The answer is that the KG Inc. may win or it may not win. Right, the amount is expected by the winning of the settlement. Now, since a large winning settlement amount may lead to complexities in the financial statement and also mislead the users, so this gain is not recorded in the books. Again, taking the same example, if AB Limited or AB Inc. expects to lose the suit, then they must record. If they lose, they must record in the footnotes of the financial statement. Now, this will be the most conservative approach because the users will want to be aware of the company will have to pay out a large sum of settlement, right, in the coming days. This was the example number two. Example number one. Now we'll take example number two to understand in again a good fashion. Suppose, let's say, an asset is owned by an entity like inventory, and it was bought for, let's say, $120, but can now be bought for 150. Can it be bought for 50? My question. Then the company must immediately write down the value of the asset to 50. So the company must immediately write down the value 50. That is, the lower of the cost of the market. This is basically the cost. This is, let's say, the NRV, the net realizable value. It's cost or NRV, whichever is lesser. But if the inventory was bought for, let's say, 120, and now will the cost will be of the company will be 150, right? It must be still shown the cost now is at 150 and the NRV is standing at 120. Then we should record it at 120, whichever is less. So the gain is only recorded when the inventory or the asset is sold. Now, let's understand the impact of the conservatism principle of the financial statement. Now, conservatism principle of the accounting always says that one should always err on the most conservative side on the financial statement or the transaction, sorry. Second, it is done by minimizing the profits. I mean, by stating uncertain losses or expenses and not mentioning the uncertain or estimated gains. And it always states more conservative estimate should always be followed. Third, while doing an estimate for allowance regarding the doubtful accounts, casualty losses or other unknown future events, one should always err on the side of the conservatism. I'll just write over here allowance regarding doubtful debts. Now, alternative, we can say that an accountant should record the most expenses and the least incomes. So the principle of the conservatism forms the main backbone, okay, of the lower of the cost or the market value. So whichever is lower, right? In recording the inventory part, which we just understood. Conservative principle of the accounting states that that the accountant must choose the most conservative outcome when the two outcomes are available to them. So the main logic behind this of the principle of the conservatism is that when the two reasonable possibilities for recording a transactions are available, one must err on the conservative side. So this means that one has to record uncertain losses while staying away from recording the uncertain gains. Right? So when the conservative principle of accounting is followed, lower asset amount is recorded on the balance sheet and lower net income is recorded, you can say, on the income statement. Right? So adhering to the principle results in lower profits being recorded in the statement. Now, why to follow the principle of conservatism? Why? This is the question. Why do we use conservatism? See, while recording a business entity's gains or losses, I mean, why do we use conservatism while recording business entities' gains or losses? See, we must keep in mind that the principle of conservatism does not mean making the recorded earnings as low as possible. This principle basically helps us to break a tie with when an accountant has to deal with equal probable outcomes for a transaction. So when interested users or investors are going through company's financial statement, they must get an assurance that the profits of the company are not misleading. Or if it is overestimated, it will be misleading for the company stakeholders. So when the conservatism principle of accounting is followed, prep people, they or pro or potential business investor or partner gets more clear and realistic picture of the company financial standing and the future trajectory of the company. So the two main aspects of the conservatism principle of the accounting are recognize the revenue, recognize revenue only if they are certain, and recognize the expenses as soon as they are reasonably possible. I hope you have got a clear insight regarding this very topic. So that's it for this particular topic. If you have learned and enjoyed watching this video, please like and comment on this video and subscribe to our channel for the latest updates. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.